Once we have the content type defined, the next step is to make our first page layout file. I'm going to do this in SharePoint Designer where I have my publishing portal open. And although I had created my content type in the browser, you could have done it in SharePoint Designer too. If you see the content types section shows you all the available content types, including my new custom content type called product page here. But what I'm interested in is in the page layouts section, which currently just has the default page layouts that were provided to me by SharePoint. I want to make my own, so up to the ribbon and click New Page Layout. And the first thing it's going to ask is, well, what content type am I based on? And in fact, it's selected the one that I want in my custom content types group called product page. I then need to give it a name. This is really a file name. So I'll just call this productpage.aspx, and there I'm just taking a leaf out of the examples here, like articleleft.aspx and pagelayout.aspx, and then give it a proper title, which I'll just call this one, product space page. Click OK. It creates that page layout and it dumps me into the edit mode here. Now I'm in code view currently, but you could also be in design view. Flicking over there, I see that it has obviously connected to the current master page of this publishing portal, and that's okay. As ever, I'm seeing a lot of the no entry signs, which is what I'd expect to see. We are still using the master page, which means we don't change what the master page provides. We just have these placeholders that have been created, and we get to fill those placeholders. Then the most important one is going to be this one called placeholder main. And in fact, if I look at my code view, I can see that really all I've been given here are two tags, two ASP content tags. The first one says, here's where I can provide some content that will fill a placeholder in the master page called placeholder page title. And here's where I can provide content that will fill a placeholder in the master page called placeholder main. Now, of course, it doesn't know what you want to do just yet, but any content that I want needs to be inside these content tags. And the most important one is to be inside the opening and closing placeholder main content tag. So what could I do here? Well, remember that I'm not building an actual web page here. What I'm trying to do is build a template for multiple web pages. And let's say, for example, that what I just wanted to do was start to mock up a product page. Well, I could, of course, just kind of start typing. I could say, well, on this page, I want to have the product title. So I'll just write some text there and then hit enter and think, well, below that, I want to have the category and the SKU and the price. And perhaps I'll put them all on one line by themselves. And below that, I'll have the description. And then I could start to grab hold of this and change this. Maybe I'm going to select the product title and come up to the home section of the ribbon where I'll say I'd like this to be an H1. So I can apply a little bit of simple formatting here. Grab this next line that combines three pieces of information, category, SKU, and price, and say, well, what would that look like with, say, a heading 4? And description I'll leave alone. Now I'm doing some very simple stuff here. What I could also do is use the View menu, turn on my Manage Styles task pane, and start looking at, say, all the available styles that I might have either in core v4.css or any custom file that I'm connecting to, and apply those instead. And not surprisingly, I could jump into the code view and start marking this out with divs and using standard ways of splitting up and controlling layout on a web page. I've just done something very simple here to prove a point. But of course, what we don't want is something that always says product title. We want the actual title from the individual pages. And this next thing is the real benefit of building that custom content type and defining those site columns, is because we are basing this page layout on the content type of product page. I can go to my task panes area and open up the toolbox. I'll just close down my styles here so I can see this properly. Now in the toolbox, we've got standard HTML toolbox stuff, the text and the labels and the text areas. I don't care about that, nor do I care about ASP.NET controls. What I'm interested in is in the SharePoint controls section. So I want to make sure that that has been expanded. And I'm going to come down towards the bottom where I see this section called content fields. What it's doing is looking at my product page content type and saying, hey, you've got a product category. and a product description and a product price and a product SKU. I'm going to allow you to drag and drop these on the page and create placeholders there for positioning and that people can come along and fill. Now, the full impact of this might not be apparent until a few minutes' time when I show you what this does. But what I'm going to do is take this placeholder text that I had for product title, get rid of it, just make sure my cursor's in the right place between the H1 tags. Actually, my product title just comes from the title field, which was already built in there. I didn't have to define that one myself, so I'm going to right-click it and click Insert. And what it's doing is it's inserting a SharePoint Web Controls text field. Okay, fine. What that means is this will be replaced by the actual title of each individual product page. Next, I'm going to go and find Category, position my cursor properly, and come down and find my product category, right-click and click Insert. You can also drag and drop, but I actually prefer to do the right-click and insert. There's SKU, and we'll right-click and insert SKU. And there's Price, right-click and insert Price. And finally, just in this regular paragraph of description, I'll get rid of that, position my cursor, and right-click and insert Product Description. Now what it's doing, if you can notice, is that we've got slightly different fields here. The title is a text field. The category is called a drop-down choice field. The description is a rich HTML field. Okay, we can't really see the impact of this right now, although I could switch back to design view and we'll see a slightly different view of these, some of which will contain kind of a little bit of dummy information, but that's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and save this file. Now, I will agree that right now this is not looking like the prettiest page in the world. And you might be looking at it and thinking, okay, there's some placeholder text, big deal. Well, this is very useful, as we'll see in a minute. Now, after I've saved this, what I'm doing is going to go back to my page layouts section. Because I'm working with a publishing portal, which is pretty locked down, what that means is anything in here needs to be published and approved before it's really usable. So I'm going to right-click my product page, which is currently checked out. I'm going to check it in as a major version, and it's going to remind me that this also needs content approval. Do I want to modify the status? Yes, I do. It's currently pending. I'm going to approve it. Well, then what? Well, the end result of this is I will be able to create a page based on this new page layout, and that's next.